The third round is quickly becoming one of my favorite rounds, if not my favorite round in 2025 fantasy football drafting. And I even created a draft pick trading video, how to get your first, your second, your fifth, your sixth, your seventh, your eighth picks all inside round number 3, or at least 5 or 6 of them in round 3, so you could dominate the round 3 value. Bucky, JSN, the guys we're going to talk about in this video. Who are my favorite players in the 3.1 range all the way through round 3? Who are the win-a-league potential monsters, the first round potential players that are hiding in round 3? And there are many of them. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. This is part of an ADP series where I break down ADP from every different angle. Late round sleepers, late round busts, early round busts, middle round busts, early and middle round sleepers. We'll tackle it all. And in this particular video, we're focusing on third round and third round values. And the man you see in front of your face, Bucky Irving, is teeter-tottering on the second and third round turn to 24.2. So it puts him right past the 24 overall pick. So he's 3.1. This is great value. This is a player that arguably at the end of the year, you could rank in the top 12 overall. He's potentially a top 5 to 10 running back, top 6 to 10 running back if you want to play it safe. And his production's only going to go up. This guy was, I don't want to say eased in to things as we walk through the season. He was used, in spots throughout the entirety of the year. But it wasn't until late in the year that Bucky started to get completely fed. And his game log is so impressive when you look at Bucky Irving's progression. And the fact that this guy really kind of entered the NFL as a potential change of pace looking type running back. A guy that everybody said, he seems the same, and I'm included. He seems the same as Rachaad White, maybe. This guy developed at the NFL level. This 5'10", 195-pound monster ended up delivering a season that when you look back on it and you aren't completely, in tune with all of the stats, you might be completely shocked at 11, 22, and 8 touchdowns, 5.4 a pop. This guy is the evidence that you don't always know on draft day, on rookie draft day, who's going to be great. Even when landing spots are dished out, you might like Bucky. You might have liked him, but no one saw the monster that was to develop because it wasn't in existence yet. Sometimes players enter the league, Arian Foster back in the day, Tom Brady at quarterback, Kurt Warner when he wasn't even drafted. Sometimes players enter the league and they become something different. They get possessed by the game and they mature, and they still have a lot of maturing to do when they get in the NFL, and they mature at a rate that other players aren't maturing at. This guy turned into a monster. And the great part about Bucky is it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, because if they didn't predict him coming, sometimes they don't want to switch gears, because internally, this is the psychology in fantasy football your boy brings with the psych degree. People don't like to admit they were wrong because it makes them feel like they're admitting they didn't know what they were doing, or they don't have all the skill sets needed to be considered the best fantasy football mind around. So admitting that Bucky's amazing makes you say, I didn't know what I was doing last year. You got to be able to adjust and adapt. Bucky is a top 5 to 10 running back. Bucky came on strong at the end of the year. Bucky finished with 1,100 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. It was a remarkable year for Bucky Irving. And if I screenshot the tail end of his season, you're going to, if you don't already know, have your mind blown by what this guy did in the final, let's call it 6 games captured in the 2024 season. Here it is right here. And this is, I think, a more what you can expect out of Bucky versus looking at anything else. This is 6 straight games for Bucky when he's getting the volume. 25 totes, only 4 here, but 15, 16, 20, and 19. You even consider, that game here on 12-8 against the Raiders, you consider all of it, it's still an unbelievable number at the end of the day if you prorate this across a season, including this 4-carry game. 152 and a touch, 117 rushing, 68 and a touch, 113 rushing, 89 and a touch, and then, of course, he had that 77-yard receiving game. Very capable wide receiver. Look at the targets and receptions. Bucky he's going to be an amazing player. And I think he reminds me, God, what's the best comp for him? When you watch him run, he's aggressive. He runs like a Marshawn Lynch meets, it's hard to even describe it. He's so gritty. I would say Marshawn Lynch meets Saquon Barkley. You can laugh at that all you want, but go watch some Bucky film. Go take a Bucky bath.
Get buckied.
And you will agree,
Buckied.
that he has what it takes
Buckied.
to become a top 5 to 10 running back.
Oh, Bucky.
In everyone's mind. And you can think what you want. I really don't, I care. I care about the people who want to learn and the people who love this channel. But I mean, if you're a hater and you're like, I missed Bucky last season, Smitty, so I'm not on board this season, I don't care. You can do what you want with the information. Bucky probably replicating the yardage, even if we call it 1,200 yards, a little bit more. Let's just say 1,200 yards. Let's say he doesn't even do that much more. 240 carries, 1,200 yards. Not much more in that department, but we give him 12 touchdowns on the ground. We give him, instead of his reception totals, which were in 2024, in his progressive getting better and more work role, he had 47 receptions, 52 targets, 47 receptions, 392, and 0 touchdowns. I would say give him 1 to 2 receiving touchdowns, give him 450 receiving yards instead of 392, 450, not even a huge bump, and give him 55 receptions. And that, my friends, is a top at least 6 to 10 running back in the current running back climate we're looking at, which is a bunch of great players. But that is unbelievable. That is the definition of baking in every bit of risk into his ADP. At his 3.1, your third drafted player value. And the later you get him in round 3, obviously the lower risk and the better upside. But as your third drafted player, how does he not earn you your value back, even in a disappointing year? He could get 900 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns and 300 receiving yards and 1 TD and pretty much earn third drafted player value. He's going to explode. He's one of the best picks in all of fantasy football. 2025, given he's top 5 capable. He really is. The next player on the ADP board here in the 3rd round that I love is JSN. And JSN is a guy that I think a lot of people are going to get on board really quickly with the DK being traded, here very shortly. News. By the time you watch this, maybe he's already been traded. I'm filming this on March 7. So DK is very much in the spotlight right now as being traded. Feels 99% chance he's going to get traded, but people tend to hold off a little bit until something's concrete before they react. And even when they react, I don't think he climbs into round 2 and redraft. I think he floats a little bit higher in round 3, but this is a guy that you can get at the little bit after the turn pick here and get as your wide receiver 1 if you go all RB, robust RB in rounds 1 and 2. JSN's phenomenal for that type of drafting strategy. And I think he finishes number 9 wide receiver value last year. I think he can get into the 5 to 7 range in 2025 without DK in the building. And even though Geno's his quarterback, Geno knows him well. Even though Geno's his quarterback, without DK, he's still going to absorb. And when you talk about baking in the risk, he with DK and Geno, same situation with Geno, but better situation without DK. But with DK, he was already wide receiver 9. Like, even if he replicates last year in his wide receiver 9 or 10, that's what you're getting in the 3rd round. That is earning your value back by far and away. The best low risk wide receiver 1 still lingering. Marvin Harrison Jr. I still like a lot, but I feel like JSN's better value. DJ Moore, there's some upside there. Garrett Wilson's also really good. We probably won't talk too much on Garrett Wilson until he gets his quarterback situation buttoned up, because there is still a very big risk that they don't do a good job there. Jackson Dart's rising up boards really quickly, so maybe the Jets end up taking Dart early and he does get his quarterback. Right now, it's kind of feeling, in flux. But so no, we'll do a lot of Garrett Wilson talk later. But JSN right now, even with Geno, was wide receiver 9 with DK Metcalf. He won't have DK Metcalf. He's going to the freaking moon, and we got him on the Saturn men list.
The Saturn men.
One small. And the next two guys we're going to talk about, just letting you know, not to spoil it, but they are also on the Saturn men list. And on that note, as we navigate downward, let's put up our good old boy Breece Hall. Breece Hall, who is 8 feet tall, 7 feet tall. I forget how tall he is. Somewhere between 7 and 8 feet. There's a lot to be disappointed about coming off the 2024 campaign, where when he was given the work, he was phenomenal. When he wasn't given the work, he wasn't. How's that sound? Pretty clear cut. If they get back to the run, which Aaron Glenn coming over from Detroit, going to be about solidifying the defense, getting field position, running the ball, defense, running the ball, cascading back and forth, and hopefully getting, as I said, a Jackson Dart at least, or something along those lines, which I got to think they're not going to roll with Tyrod. We've heard rumors that they might. Tyrod might be okay for Breece Hall. Breece Hall will probably have less yards per carry under a Tyrod than he would a better quarterback, but he might get more work, so it could be somewhat of a wash in a way. But either way, no matter what happens, Dart, Tyrod, Aaron Rodgers is not going to stay, but an Aaron Rodgers type quarterback. Let's say they got Kirk Cousins in a tray. Like, just imagine anything. Sam Darnold would be good. Fields would be great. I think Breece Hall's leaned upon. And we've seen it before, even with Zach Wilson and the year before Aaron Rodgers. This guy could still deliver. We know he can deliver. In 2023, he was running back 2 overall in a very, very bad situation where Aaron Rodgers went down and they had nobody. Like, he had a great year during that season. So I would say if he's going like 5 or 6 or 7 overall like last year, coming off that big year where he was running back 2, I think, yeah, he'd be risky. But you're talking about adjusting and adapting to 3rd-round ADP, 3rd drafted player, middle of 3rd round, mind you. You're taking him there, and the risk is every bit baked in. It's like the frog in boiling water. Throw him in the boiling water, he jumps out. Put him in lukewarm water, turn it on high, he slowly boils to death. For some reason, everybody's boiling to death when it comes to Breece Hall's ADP. I don't believe he'll be a top 5 guy. He's falling down to 12 overall. Yeah, it's too risky to draft him as a first-round running back. Falls to pick 15, to pick 18, to pick 24, pick 25. And here we are at 27.9 ADP. 3rd round, middle of 3rd round. And the answer I hear from people that try and describe why they don't want to go near Breece Hall in 2025 is that I just don't know if he's going to be able to return top 5. What do you mean top 5? What do you mean even top 10? He's getting drafted as a running back that's breaching outside the top 10 overall. This is arguably, I keep going with the biggest steal in fantasy. I keep stealing it from the next guy. Bucky might be the biggest steal. Wait, Breece Hall might be. No, Kyren might be. They're all really close. This might be one of the top 4 best picks in fantasy football 2025. Even if he doesn't produce what we think he can, he earns this without a hesitation. As long as he stays healthy, something we can't control. If you're right about Breece Hall, and he's a top 5, 6 running back, let alone higher, you win a league. So Breece Hall, young man, come home, pal. Bring us a championship. Do it live. We move on down to Josh Allen. We'll get to Kyren in a second. But Josh Allen is a remarkable player at 3.10. And I've said this before, you can cringe if you want. You can go watch your Mickey Mouse Excel sheet Eric shows where people just crunch numbers. I crunch numbers too. I have data all over the place. You want data? I'll give you data. I give you data till your heart's content. I give data constantly. But I am more gut driven than anything. I'm more realistic than anything. I'm more adjust and adapt than anything. I'm not going to hold on to my prediction from the preseason. If things start changing, I adjust and adapt. What people are doing with quarterbacks and advising people to not draft early quarterbacks because there's value at a later round, because you can draft a good quarterback 7, or you can find JD5s. We told you about JD5. We told you about JD5. Don't tell me about JD5. I'll tell you about JD5. We told you about JD5. We told you about Josh Allen on his rise. We told you about Jalen Hurts. We'll still draft JD5s and Jalen Hurts and those up-and-coming rising star quarterbacks, and then we'll trade the quarterback like Josh Allen or whatever. So don't act like I'm not a late quarterback drafter, too. We practically invented the thing. But what I am a big advocate of is early quarterback, because no one's defending it. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and JD5, who's not even in the purview here because he's down even farther than this third round. He's in the fourth round. These guys command whether you want to hear it or not, whether you're ready to hear it or not, whether you think this is an outdated take. This is not outdated. This is what it is. This is facts. These guys are worth the 12 overall pick. They're worth a bottom of round 1, top of round 2 pick. The reason that they're not going there is because everybody's been told and brainwashed into thinking quarterbacks can be had later, which they can. But the value of your return on investment, if he ends up being the number 1 overall scorer in fantasy football, he ends up being the number 1 overall scorer in fantasy football, just because there's value later doesn't mean that you can't capitalize on that and this and have even more of a trade market for you later in the year. But it doesn't mean they're not worth these picks. There's value everywhere. If you want to say, well, I can get a quarterback later, you can get a wide receiver later. You could have got BT as a wide receiver 1 down where you got your quarterback, and you could have got Josh Allen or whatever quarterback you want early. There's no wrong way to draft a quarterback. The only thing I'm defending here is that this is the right way. There's the right way at every turn. Right way is late quarterback drafting. The right way is early quarterback drafting. To merely suggest that taking Josh Allen, who could be the number 1 overall scoring quarterback, or Lamar or JD5, whoever you believe to be that guy, to suggest that that's too early or that there's other value later, Smitty, to suggest that it's a bad pick at all, not a league-winning pick at 3.10 is madness. Straight madness. And you know how you can test this? Once week 1 kicks off, try and trade for one of these guys. Just try. Trying to reach out to anybody and say, hey, I'll give you my 3rd-round player for Josh Allen. They'll laugh at you in your face. You'll embarrass yourself. Do you know that to get Josh Allen or JD5, once week 1 kicks off, you won't even touch him unless you're giving up a player in the top 10, which goes to show that when you drive this car off the lot, it doesn't go down in value. It goes up in value, meaning that on draft day, people are grossly undervaluing quarterbacks. There's no reduction in value by driving it off the lot. The values get inflated, which means you're getting a steal in these quarterbacks late. Don't listen to anybody. Draft the best player available. If it's Josh Allen, it's Josh Allen. If Kyren's still on the board here, or if Breece Hall or JSN, then take those players. And then you can take your JD5, which I'll guide you and guide the ship in that direction too. Don't worry about it. I told everyone, this is the channel that was the most high on JD5 you will find on planet Earth or anywhere in the solar system.
Let him cook.
Anywhere. I'll help you find that. But in that, if you're sitting there in round 3 and you don't like what you're looking at, don't let some Mickey Mouse content that you've been watching brainwash you into thinking that this is a bad pick. That's my point. And as we navigate down to our next favorite monster and the final player to talk about today. Not that there aren't other good values here, but this is what we're choosing to discuss. Kyren Williams. This guy goes out and has touchdown after touchdown and is remarkable in that category. 30-plus touchdowns in his first 2 seasons starting. He's in a very select handful of people scoring that many touchdowns in their first 2 seasons. We're talking about all time. This guy is in a small select handful of running back that can do what he's done, and people keep doubting him. They keep talking about Corum or you'll break down. Did he break down last year? Did HN or Kyren, the smaller backs that are supposed to get hurt when they get fed too much, did he break down? I don't think so. He excelled. And if anybody thinks this guy's not scoring on a healthy season 12-plus rushing touchdowns, why don't you take a look at history when he's averaging over 15 total touchdowns a season for 2 straight seasons? What's he doing around 3? This is, again, the definition of baked-in value, because even if he fails you a little bit, you're getting him in 3rd-round value near the end. This is almost 4.1. This is almost 4.1. He belongs in the top 8. One of the biggest steals in fantasy. This is why this 3rd round's beautiful. Smash. Now, I'll say that this is best ball data. There's a little bit of a discrepancy. In redraft, he'll probably go in the 2nd round. And you might even see him go 13, 14, 15, 16. I've seen some like ESPN screenshots from people are, look at Smitty, what are you talking about? Every place is going to be different where you draft, and you might see old, outdated rankings, but the fear of Corum is real still. I'll say this, they're looking to extend him potentially, and if he gets an extension, the Corum stuff's going to die. But I will promise you this, I will be beating a dead horse on cuffing Kyren to Corum, because as much as Corum scares me zero, he's still one of the best, if not the best, cuff in fantasy, because McVay's system will make Corum, he'll be lesser than Kyren, but he'll still be a top 10 running back. Kyren can be a top 1 to 5 running back. Blake Corum starting 4 games in a row off something you can't control is still going to be 7 to 10 running back capable. So it is still a must. And the good news is Corum's falling really far this year because everyone's balloon was deflated when they thought, I'm going to pick Corum. You know, I'm going to be so smart. And Corum didn't do anything. And Corum's not even a threat. This is McVay's golden child. His golden boy. He ain't doing nothing different than feeding this man over and over and over. Eventually, running backs break. Running backs can break a hand or a wrist or tear an ACL in a non-contact situation. So it is a must-cuff situation, but there might be no higher possible running back upside. Could be running back 1. You could find no later upside player than Kyren. This is a top 5 running back in almost round 4. And in redraft, non-best ball, your buddy leagues, probably 14, 15 overall. Smash it. If you're at the 12, 13 turn picks, you can't wait for Kyren. You got to take him there in a non-best ball. In a best ball, try and use this to your advantage. And if you want to try drafting all these values on Underdog, use code Smitty. They'll match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000, plus give you a free pick in your account. Go smash it. Do it live. Also, this channel is live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're also live additionally whenever big news breaks. Now get out of here. I'll see you on the next ADP show, which you can find all of these ADP-driven shows on the main channel. Just scroll about halfway down on my main YouTube homepage. You'll see a row that says ADP shows. This is a series that we'll continue to do all offseason. There's also a fantasy football court row, and I'll start adding different series rows to my YouTube homepage so you can find the series that you want to watch when you want to watch it. And again, we're live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that like button on the way out the door. Don't forget to get over to thefantasyfootballshow.com, which is all your year-round bull predictions. Trade calculator. I got in the business because there wasn't a trade calculator anywhere to be found in 2003, and I said I'm inventing it, and that's what your boy's been doing since 2002/2003. And then don't forget to get on over to my Patreon. These links are all in the description, but the Patreon link is patreon.com/thefantasyfootballshow. What's the Patreon, Smitty? Live chat, 24/7, 365. That's all I use it for pretty much. I'll do some articles on there that are, for Patreons only. But this is what it is. We're live chatting 365, 24/7 in all these different, chat rooms like Superflex, General, Best Ball, Live Game Day Lounge, where we all congregate during any game, Monday, Sunday games, Thursday game. We're all sitting in there going, "What, you see that play? What do you need? Hey, what should I do this trade?" So $10 a month, price a cup of coffee, cancel anytime. Go make sure you get on over to both those places. See you on the 8 p.m. show. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Additionally, live whenever big news breaks. Deuces.